My name is Robert Bloomberg. I'm a board certified internist. I went to school in Canada at McMaster University in Hamilton, and then did my internship and residency at Georgetown University Hospital in Washington, and then was asked back to McMaster to be their chief resident, which I was. And then my wife and I at that time decided to come down to Arizona, and we joined an existing internal medicine practice. And then 2 years later, decided to split off and establish one for myself. It was about 1982. And since then, the practice has sort of grown. The need for properly trained medical assistants became an issue of mine and ours here probably 12, 13, 14 years ago. And I noted there was one particular college, Carrington, that trained MAs and seemed to do an outstanding job. So I selectively looked for their graduates. I think they picked up on that, and at one point they decided that they wanted some input about their training programs. And one thing led to another, and they invited me onto their medical advisory board. And what's happened is that it's grown beautifully since then. There are, I think, other providers and graduates that are on that MA board. They tend to incorporate recommendations of the individuals. They like what 2 or 3 of us providers have to say. I guess we're end users of their product. So they tend to incorporate recommendations that we have into their educational program. The office is almost exclusively made up of Carrington grads. We've tended to really enjoy a regular line of Carrington graduates that we've incorporated into our staff. We participate in their externship program, which, to be honest, gives us an idea of the capabilities of individuals. Those that are especially good, we try to give them offers they can't refuse. The practice developed over the last 40 years. It was actually, it was originally our practice started in 1982, and gave rise to the concept of a singleton practice group that would incorporate several single or similarly minded independent practices into an entity, a singleton entity that would be self-governing but physician-directed. So about 3 years ago, we got together 2 practices to get things started, Page Family Practice and ours, Bloomberg, to form Premier Medical Group. And we now have approximately 13,000 patients that we share. You know, I was thinking about that number coming in. I'm going to guess 50, and that includes all the externs that we've had coming and going. And then we have, of course, a staff of 25, and I'm going to guess 18 or 20 of them are Carrington. So probably 50 over the years. You know, I think it's a real excellent place. Like any entity that I've come across in my life, it's only as strong as the individuals that are involved. And they're individuals. There's been continuity, so the same people are involved as I got to know 8, 10, 12 years ago. They're very high quality. They're very amenable to recommendations, making change. And what I've been impressed with is they're directed on the product of their educational system. So they want it to be sufficient to our needs, being a kind of your basic cookie cutter medical practice. So they direct themselves, change their program in a way that we tell them the product of their graduates has been improving. So it's a continuous line of communication and feedback. But it's been a mutually beneficial relationship. I, along with the other people on the MA advisory board, make recommendations, interact with them, tell them how their different programs are working, and we try to employ the best of the externs that they send our way. And there's never enough, by the way. We, in this employment market, you probably gather, very, very hard to get not only medical assistants, but really good medical assistants. Kathy spends a good chunk of her time trying to beat the bushes to satisfy our needs. So it's like other industrial entities, we can't get enough really qualified people, and Carrington has the capacity of providing us what we need eminently well. I think it's really immeasurable. The medical system really needs really proper, I guess you might say, components, parts for this very, very complicated system to work. So we need well-trained, in this particular case, well-trained medical assistants. A lot of these a lot of the kids that we've gotten have become mature adults. They've decided on further ambitions. Some of them that I'm aware of have become RNs, or they've gotten into other programs. But I guess what I'd say is the medical system is a very complex machine that needs its parts replenished, replaced, and oiled. And schools like Carrington need to provide a feeder of fresh graduates, well-trained people to make the system work. I think that from my point of view, over the years that I've been involved with them, they've done nothing but improve. They have a great home base, as you mentioned, in Mesa. I think Mesa can be very, very proud of schools that it has like Carrington. And from my knowledge, from my experience, they have really done nothing but improve their product, improve their system. And as I mentioned, they're very, very receptive to recommendations that we make. But I think it's an outstanding institution that gives their graduates tremendous opportunity to start to follow their career in medicine. And any institution is just as strong as the individuals that make up the key components. So they're very, very fortunate to have really excellent employees and directors and administrators, and I think they seem to seek out people that are very, very well qualified, that are tremendously good educators. Some of those come by our office and actually look to see how their graduates are doing here. So it's a continuous process that I think is really wonderful. And it's been, as much as I've enjoyed medicine, I particularly enjoyed the interaction of being able to work with Carrington. Helps me, helps them, and I think the result is, the kind of people that we have here as employees. I've always been impressed that the medical practice is good. It's the providers, the doctors, I guess, nurse practitioners, but the people that really make it successful are the medical assistants. From my point of view, they're the ones that answer the phone calls, schedule the appointments. They're the ones that help patients into the exam rooms. They're the ones that listen to the emotional stories. They're the ones that bond to them. They're the ones that the patients call when they've heard bad news about themselves or someone in their family. So I think what I've come to understand that any really successful practice is only as good as the support staff, and in this case, the MAs that we have. So Carrington produces a really excellent level of graduate that has done nothing but allow our practice to grow. So I look forward to a number of good years ahead that I hopefully will be capable of interacting with.